Hello. Hi guys. Sorry, I'm just finishing setting up where to put my phone so I can see when you make comments. So trying to get my video camera working this afternoon was a bit of a challenge for me. And my daughter keep interrupting my live stream, asking me questions about how to draw cows. So, well, welcome along. We've got 10 of you already. I'm just going to turn my phone down because I'm getting a delay. So just so you know, when you're posing questions to me and saying hello and waving and sending hearts, I don't see them for about probably a 20-second delay. So if you ask a question of me and I don't answer straight away, it's because there's a sync-in delay between what I'm actually saying and what you're actually hearing. So, in fact, I'm going to time it. I've got it on my phone, so if I put my hand across the painting, and then I'll see, who have I got? Nina. Hello, Nina. Gay. Hi, Gay. Good to have you along. Can't stay, though, for this one. That's okay. You can watch back. That's fine. That's the joy. So I'll just wait a little bit longer because what are we now? Just about on time. See if anyone else is going to join us. I guess as it's a lovely sunny day, some people are getting out in their garden. But yeah, I'm not seeing the comments come up on my... here we go. Now I've got it. Now we've got technology working for us. So, okay, guys, we'll make a start. Now, Blue Moo is one of my early watercolour characters. He was probably one of the first that I created, and he's been so popular. He's worked hard for me, and he appears on cushions and mugs and phone cases. He's on my phone case. He's very dear to my heart. Hello, Linda. Good to have you along. Hey, Gemma. And you've got proper paint. Oh, my word. And my son's watching. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Pat. 20 of you now watching. Okay, so as I was saying, Blue Moo is one of my first watercolour critters, not first watercolours ever, but when I decided to make this range of quirky animals, he was one of the first. So I'm just going to pop him out of the way and put him back here. Sorry, Blue Moo, I do love you, but you need to go out the way. So I've raised my my board slightly today, so hopefully you can see better. I'll bring the camera down just a little more. I don't want to lose. It's just a pencil sketch at this stage of my next cow. Okay, so my next cow I thought would have some horns. Blue Moo was a baby. He hadn't grown any horns. That's my excuse anyway. So it's a Highland cow. I'm not going to stick to the same colours I did before. Blue Moo needs a friend. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend today. If you haven't sketched out yet, then perhaps you'll sketch it out now. I wish my daughter would stop messaging me when she knows I'm live. Dear, oh dear, never mind. Okay, so I've done the drawing in pencil. If you're going to sketch along, maybe you've read what I wrote last night saying good idea to sketch your cow out if you want to paint along. Hello, Mark. Good to have you back. So I've drawn him out. Now, you have two choices with your cow. I'm going to be using some ink with this new Moo, call it New Moo for now until it gets a name, my New Moo. And generally I will use the ink at the end of having done the painting, but because it's probably easier for you to see if I ink it now. Hi Heather and Olivia painting along today. Great to have you both along. Okay, so I'm going to bring the ink in at this early stage because I just think it's easier for you to see. You could also use the watercolour itself for the strength of the outlines. So I'm just going up the horn here. And I'm not going to draw around the whole beast, okay? I'm going to draw along certain areas, and then others I'm going to have a broken line and just sketch. I want it to look more sketchy than an outline, if you see what I mean. I'm going to bring in some of this lovely wavy, mad hairstyles that these Highlanders tend to have. And just being loose and free with my marks. Coming round this eye. And I'm going to come round the ear. If you pay attention and look at some reference pictures of cows, you can work from, hello Pam. Oh, I hope your mum's okay and she did good at hospital yesterday. Great to have you along. So I'm just going to go round the ear. I always lose track of what I was saying. Have you noticed, guys? Yeah, if you've got reference photos of cows and you look at them, there's a couple of things that I'd say for you to observe when you're looking at them. One is their eyes, the distance of their eyes. If I bring Blue Moo back, the eyes on a cow, and it's not just in my quirky version, in my realistic paintings of cows as well, their eyes are very wide on the face. The nostrils are also very high up on their nose. So those are a couple of things to bear in mind. You don't want their eyes in the middle. It will just look odd. They're way out to the side. Okay. And the other thing is their horns, their ears tend to sit in front of the horn. The horns coming behind the ear. Just a couple of things. I know this is just a fun cow that we're doing. So I'm just coming across the nose. You can see I'm breaking these lines up. Down the side of the face here. Now, I don't know if this is going to end up being a girlfriend for Blue Moo. He's been a good, how long ago did I paint and create Blue Moo? A good 4 or 5 years ago, since he came to life. So it's about time he had a girlfriend. But this is looking more boy-like. So maybe another day I'll do a girlfriend for Blue. So he's not all alone in the world. Okay, so very loosely sketching in. If you're going to do the sketching in, remember you want a watercolour ink if you're going to do this first. So water resistant ink means that when it's dry on the paper, it's not going to bleed and mess up the lovely colours that you put in afterwards. So if you're improvising and using a felt tip pen, or you're going to use the paints themselves, then I would do your black lines later. I'm just bringing in a hint of the eyes. Most of them are going to be swept away and hidden under his fur. I'm just going to grab another piece of paper a second, just show you something. So when we're working in watercolours, excuse me Bailey please, you're in my way, mind? When you're working with watercolours, we don't use white, guys. We don't use white to mute down the colour and make a lighter variant. We use water. And for those that have been following along, I'm sure, hello Kevin, I'm sure you've got used to me saying that by now, but I always repeat it. So to get a lighter colour in watercolour, and there's a whole range of colours that I've done on this page, to go from a dark colour to a light colour just depends on how much water you're putting in your mix with the colour, okay? So if you want a very strong colour, you use it pretty neat. And if you want it watered down, pop it into a container, a plate, a well, if you happen to have a mixing palette, into the lid of your watercolour paints. Quite often they will have a mixing palette, and water it down to get those light colours. Any white comes from the paper itself being allowed to show through. Okay, now watercolour, like it says on the tin, loves water, okay? So one thing to bear in mind when you're doing your cow today and you want some white areas, just like around his nose here, the highlights, some white amongst the face, just those highlight areas that you want, you need to keep your paper dry. I'll just show you what happens. So I'm just going to wet a strange area. You can't see a thing. I'm just putting water on my page, and I'm going to drop some colour at the top of where I put this water. This is just so you can see what I'm saying and that it's true. I'm just going to tip this up. I'm going to watch that paint spread out in the water. Okay, see it lovely spread out. I'm just going to drop a bit more pigment up here so you can see better. Tip it up and watch it go. It's spreading out in the water, but it's not going anywhere else. It only follows where you have put the water. So keeping your paper dry is your key to keeping the white. Okay, guys? Cool. So light to dark, controlling your paint. Now, I've got him sketched out, so I'm ready to start. I'm just a bit nervous because I'm really not sure what colours to use. Lauren's watching. Hello, Lauren. I hope you're enjoying playing with your new paints that you ordered. Hello, Teresa. Are you well, my lovely? Okay. I think I'm going to stick with the turquoise. That's in Blue Moo, but I might do turquoise and pink. Maybe try and make this one a little bit more ladylike. What do you think? Okay. So I've changed my mind. I'm going to go yellow and blue. I'm going to put my paints here. Hopefully they'll balance. There we go. Risking life and limb. Greens and purples. No. Greens and purples not a good mix. If purple and green gets together, it doesn't make a good colour. And actually, there's a fair bit of that going on in Blue Moo anyway. So I want something a bit different. So we are going to go. When you're working with watercolour, it's best to go with the lighter colours first. So I'm going into my yellow here with my watercolour brush. Load it with water. I want lots of, really activate this paint. You can use tube paints as well, guys, and just squeeze them out. I've got some tube paints here that I've squeezed out into my palette. It makes no difference. Okay, I'm going to start with his ears because his ears are quite dense, quite densely populated with colour. So I'm going to put this lovely bright yellow. I've got a thing about blues, yellows and greens at the moment. Have you noticed when I started these, I started with the acrylic cow with the green background. So I'm working wet on dry. I'm putting a strongly pigmented, so I'm picking up quite a lot of water, but also quite a lot of paint, placing it down in his left ear here. And I'm going to pick up, which blue do I want? No, I want this greeny blue. I'm going to pick up this blue at the end, which is a hint of yellow in it. Let me just check I've got that. Yeah. So this, I'll just show you the colours that I've chose on here. Oops. On here. So I've got the yellow and I've got this blue. Okay. Beautiful blue. Don't know the name of it, but I'll look it up if anyone's interested. Okay. So now I've got that yellow down. I'm going to drop the blue in. And I'm going to pull it where I want it. Now, because it's gone into wet paint, it's spreading out. Move that a second. You can see it bursting out into the yellow. And those two colours are going to mix together. I'm allowing them to play around on the paper. I'm just coming in with some water, just clean water on my brush, and teasing that around a bit. Getting it to mix a bit more. I haven't got any more paint on my brush. I'm just using the colours that are down on the page, and then I'm going to go in that and flick it to create the hairy ears. If we want pink and can't use white, how can it be done? You have to buy a pink paint. You have to have a pink paint. You can't mix pink. You can use a red really light, and if you've got a crimson red, Nina, then that will be fine. A nice crimson red, you can get a light pink. So I've got a crimson red in here. If you use it lightly, it'll be a bit pinky. You could add a bit of blue to the red, but mainly red, and you'll get a light pinky, purpley shade. So yeah, pink's a troublesome one. It's best to buy a tube. So I use one called Rose. That's the pink that I like to use. Yeah, it's one of the few colours that you can't mix. Why can't you use white, guys? You're thinking, well, Nina, just go ahead and mix your pink. Because if you put white in your watercolour paints, it becomes opaque, okay? And you don't want opaque. The whole thing about watercolour is they're translucent and bright and fresh. So as soon as you put white in them, you lose that freshness, they become opaque, they're no longer transparent. So don't do it. Don't do it. It's a cardinal sin. Okay, so I'm just coming in with the blue over the top of the yellow. Just flicking it, popping it in, encouraging it to mix in the ears. Mix with this yellow that's already down. Flick it. I want this one to have a slightly different look to Blue Moo. I've lived with Blue Moo a long time now. I quite like the strength of blue over this side, so I'm going to go back in on the left and add a bit more blue over the top. Get it really dark. Really colourful cow. You just love these colourful cows. They're so quirky. Everyone that you do, I swear to God, when you start sending me your cows through, everyone that I see is going to be different. Not only the different colours that you choose, but they have different personalities. They really do. So I'm just going in with a bit more yellow. Just working wet in wet. Just getting these lovely fluffy ears. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to leave his ears and his horns. I'm going to move down to the nose, because if I work on the horn next, his ear is still wet next to it. I'll just show you what happens. I'll put some clean water up here. Can you see? I'm getting that bleed. I don't want that to happen. So I'm leaving the ears to dry off. I'm just going to lift that out because I don't want that colour in his horns. Okay, so work on one area and then another, and then do the gaps in between, so you can retain those areas and keep them intact without them merging together and it all becoming a bit of a blur. Okay, I'm going to come round the nose now. I'm going to come down the middle of the nose with this lovely bright yellow. Putting that yellow down this centre. I really am just making it up as I go along, guys. Just be inventive. Have fun with it. Don't get stressed. I'm going to take some of that same blue and I'm going to bring that in as well. Why not? So I'm putting quite a strong blue in the edge, and then I'm going to just use my brush to spread that blue about. So I'm getting this mixture of colours in the nose. So the blue is retained on the edge, and as it's coming into the yellow, it's turning green. Yeah, so I'm only using 2 colours, but I'm ending up with 3 colours in the process because I'm allowing it to mix on the page. You're just going to use blue and yellow, Sandra. Brilliant. I love it. Great minds do think alike. Indeed, indeed. Okay. Now where do I want to go? I'm not sure whether to bring another colour in or stick with these. I think I'll stick with these, and I will just have the blue over this side of the nose. You can tell I'm making it up as I go along. I'm so indecisive, but I'm very keen for this to be cute. I want it to appear next to Blue Moo in my gallery on the mugs, so he needs to be good enough. So no pressure on myself to make this work. So I'm just using the blue over here. I might bring a little bit of yellow in. What do you think? Shall I bring some yellow in? Got 27 people watching along. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please shout out, let me know who you are, whether you're painting along or you're just enjoying to watch. Remember, guys, I've been really busy uploading onto YouTube. I quite like that blue around the edge of his nose. Indecisive. I'm going to try a little bit of yellow. Yeah, no, I prefer it with a bit of yellow. Too late now. Decision made. It's done. Okay, a little bit of yellow there just to pull the whole thing together. Let me move my page up a bit. Hello, Moira. Don't worry, my lovely. You can re-watch it over again. I was just saying I've been busy uploading these tutorials onto YouTube. It's just easier to find the videos if you want to watch them again later. So yeah, just look for Eunice Friend on YouTube. I have put some links in. But I'm just bringing his coiffure in now. Now I don't want it so wet like I've done with the ears. I want each colour to pretty much sit on its own without blending too much. Some of it I'll overlap, but in general, I want these bits of his fur to stand alone. Now, look, I've just touched into some blue, and that's a lucky accident, I'd call that. Okay. How are you getting along at home? Sue Wellings is watching whilst baking. Oh, multitasking, Sue. What are you baking today? Let us know. I'm a terrible baker. I'm just going into my blue now. In places, I'm going to let it mix with the yellow. It'll overlap and I'll get that green appear like we have here. In other places, it will stand on its own. I just want to go in under this eye here. Add a bit of stronger blue. That's too strong. If you do that, like I've just done, and find it's too strong, you can use your wet brush just to go in and spread it out. Or you can just lift it off with your tissue. Yeah, you will never remove it completely, but you will be able. I'm just going to water some of this blue down so I've got a nice light blue in my palette. Do it in the lid. Just going to take some of that blue. See, it's quite strong. This is a Winsor & Newton set. I have got a couple of these sets left to sell, and they are on my website. But I've also got a really nice set of new ones, which I've posted as well. You can see them. I'll show you at the end of this if you're interested in getting some better watercolours. I highly recommend them. Okay, so I'm just using this lighter blue now, just to come where I want it. I'm going to come into the bottom lip with that lighter blue. So it's just watered down. Just watered down so I get that lighter blue. I'm going to take my tape off the bottom so I can get to the bottom of his neck. There we go. So the reason my paper is taped to the board is because it's been stretched. Or watercolour paper, if you're going to be using a lot of water in your work, should be stretched first. And that just means you tape it to a board and you apply some clean water to the paper and you let it dry back. And it will do all its shrinking. When you put the water on, the paper shrinks. And that's when you get your bubbling and you get an uneven surface. Okay, guys? So to stop that happening, stretch your paper first. Wet it, let it dry back before you start your work. Okay. I'm liking the blue down on the body, much like I did up here, but I am still going to bring a little bit of yellow through just to unify my cow. It's looking pretty cool, isn't he? I'm liking him. All right, I've got some lighter colours going on up here under his fur locks. And now I'm going to bring some more stronger blues through. I'm going to get his hair coming in different directions. Oh, I don't like that. It doesn't always go to plan, guys, even for me. I'm going to dab that out with some tissue. I'm not going to panic. Right. What happened there was my paper was still too wet for the effect that I wanted to happen. So I'm just going to get rid of that, let it dry back before I come back in to add some more hair over the top. Yeah, really didn't like that. It's good for you to see what happens when it goes wrong. Now you can also use your brush as a sponge. So I'm going to lift those marks out with a clean damp brush and get rid of the marks that I didn't like. And then I'll come back over it, give it a chance to dry back because I've made it quite wet now. And then I'll finish off his head. So where should I go next? I was watching a wood turning demo, but you're more interesting. Oh, great. I think I would probably find the wood turning more interesting, but as a wood turner yourself, I guess there's only so much you want to watch. Okay, I'm just tweaking the ears here a bit more. I can see where that paint's poured, and I want to spread it around. The good thing with watercolour is you can go back to it months or even years later to take colour out. So if you want to lighten an area that you feel is too strong, you can just take your brush slowly over that area. I'll just show you here, and you can pull that colour back out. Can you see how that's lifting? Wipe your brush on your tissue. So if you want to bring some lighter areas back in, just clean damp brush, pull it over the surface slowly, and you will lift that colour out. But the trick is every time you've done it, to wipe your brush off. Give it a dab. Okay, so now I need to go in and fill that back in again because I didn't want it. It was just to show you. Okay, what can happen. Right, horns. Up to the horns now. Just shut that down on my computer. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the horns. We've got 29 people watching along. Fabulous. Love it. Love you all for watching. Okay, now I'm going to take that light blue again that I mixed by just taking a strong blue and putting it in some water in my palette. And I want this blue all over the horn. So now his ear's pretty much dry. I'm safe to go up here without risk of the ear bleeding into this area. I'm not worried if it goes over the lines. It's all part of it. If you look back at Blue Moo, there's areas that have gone over the lines. It's all part of that loose, vibrant, fresh. Right, okay. So I've done his horns in a flat colour, and now I want them to look a little bit more cylindrical. So I'm going to go in with another layer of blue, a little bit darker. So I'm just pulling a little bit more paint into my water. I want the horn to be starting to dry, and I'm going to take the darker blue in the underneath, the bottom side of the horn there. Because the paper's still damp, that will bleed ever so slightly up into the rest of the horn. So do the same on the other side. Maybe take it a little bit stronger still. Let me turn the board round, knock my water over. It's just easier so my hand doesn't smudge on him if I turn it round because I'm left-handed. I'm just going to take this stronger blue in the bottom of that horn. So we're starting to get that 3D look. And then just gently add a little bit of water above it so it bleeds in, and it will soften. Turn it back round. I notice that this side's still looking a bit solid. I'm going to add a bit more blue. Again, take it darker on the underneath, the shadow area, and then come in with just water. Come towards that line that we've just painted and allow it to bleed out. So you'll get this transition from light to dark without doing any work at all, really. You're just putting those colours on and then bringing some water in, and you get that dark underneath going to the lighter top of the horn, catching the sunlight. Okay, we're nearly there, guys. You've got an option now on the nostrils. Kirsty's watching. Hello, Kirsty. Stop messaging me when I'm doing a live feed, please. Driving me nuts. Okay, 28 people watching. Okay, now the nostrils of your cow you can do in black. I don't personally like using black watercolour. Okay, I think it's really flat, so I tend to mix my own darks. You don't have to do this, but if you come to one of my physical lessons, I will make you do this. So I'm going to take my dark blue into my lid, and I'm going to want this quite strong, so not too much water, lots of blue. And what colour do you think will make a dark grey, browny, black colour? Blue and what? Pam's mum says she had a cow named after her in Yorkshire. Linda, that's awesome. Right, brown. Brown is the answer to the question that I posed. Brown and blue. Brown and blue. Takes a bit of getting used to. How much brown, how much blue. but you can make some really awesome rich colours that are dark, and if you layer them you will get the look of black without using a very flat black. Well done, Sandra. It's just a much richer way of doing that dark colour. Now look at that. Look at that colour. You would think it was black, but indeed it is not. It is brown and blue, and it's much richer. It's a nicer colour, and you've made it yourselves. So yeah, I use black. I use my ink for black for fun things like the outline. But if I'm painting anything else in watercolour, I mix my own. Okay, so I've put this strong colour in the nostril. You can also, guys, when you're mixing, if you want a really strong black, is go right on the corner of your paint. Blue, brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue. Always test it on a bit of paper first. Look at that, a nice rich black. So that's how you'll get the strongest black. Going straight from the corners. And say, do test your colour first if you're not used to doing it. It can be too brown or too blue. Okay, so I've dropped that into the nostrils, and now I want to soften it. I want those nostrils to get lighter as it comes out of the nose. So I'm just going to take some clean water, and I'm going to come with the water and bring it towards the black until it touches in. Just let it touch into the edge, and it will start bleeding out. Remember what I said at the beginning. The watercolour loves water, so it will follow. I may have let that dry and chatting to you guys for too long, so just drop a bit more in. And it will just soften and bleed out. Look at that. So I'll come in the other side, because that should still be a bit wet, with my water. Bring it in. Only put the water where you want this paint to bleed into. And let it soften, and it will come out of the nostrils and give that nice graduated look. So you get those lovely soft edges to the nose. Yeah? You liking this? Excellent. Okay. One more area I want to tackle that I've not finished is under the nose. Now under the nose will be in shadow. So I think I'm going to use this colour again, actually, this grey black that I've mixed up. I'm going to take a slightly bit more blue in it, because the chin I've done in blue. So I want a dark colour for the shadow just under the nose here, between the top lip and the bottom lip. And again, I'm going to take some clean water and just let that bleed out. So I've got that nice dark area, shadow forming under there. So all I've got to do now is go back and fix what happened up the top. Let me move my paints off. So I'm going to come in with my yellow again. It's a very windy day for this cow. Oops, wrong blue. Nearly went in with the wrong blue. The other blue. I don't want it quite so strong. I'm just going to water it down a bit for this bit. Bring that blue. That's better. And I want a little bit here where he has a bit of a parting going on. So I'm going to go a bit stronger. Let that go over his nose. I don't mind that going over his nose. I think it's all part of it. And I think we're pretty much there. A bit more yellow. Bring some yellow in there. Why not? Now this area of his nose would be quite flat. On Bloomo I had that quite white, but on him I'm going to add some of that green. Let the yellow and blue mix to give me that. And then just flick through. Flick through. There we go. Do I like that? Bit strong. So remember your tissue, you can go in and dab out. That's better. Yeah, I prefer it lighter. And it's your cow. You decide what colours you want to use. I love this blue. What do you think, guys? Are you liking Blue Moo's friend? There we go. So that's pretty much Blue Moo the second complete. Okay, I will let that dry. Remember, your watercolours dry back lighter than when you put them on, so you may want to go back in at some and deepen the colours. But I'm quite happy with how he's turned out. I hope you love him too. Send me some love, send me some hearts. Oh, I did promise to show you before you go this set of watercolours. It's by Artway. I've been using Artway paints in my classes for 2 years now. Comes in this lovely tin with a built-in mixing palette, and the colours are in individual half pans. Okay, down the middle. You get 14 in total and a little brush. So it's a really, really nice set. I'm beating Amazon price on that. It's £12.50 and I can post it out the next day. So if you're interested, go online onto my website, eunice.jfriend.com, and I've also got some Derwent fine liners. So if you haven't got your ink pens, you can order those as well. Okay, guys, that's it for me for today. I'll just pick the camera up to say goodbye to you all. And thank you for watching. Where are you? Ah, there I am. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching me and my moo. And I will see you all next week. Have a great day. Bye.